Hey, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, then welcome. My name is Maddie, and today I'll be doing a review of Season 3 of Fruits Basket, a video that is so past overdue, it's ridiculous, but as I've stated before, I took a break from this channel just because I was feeling not in the mood for making videos, which was really sad, so that really made me push off this review. And now we're getting to it, 3 months after the anime ended? But at least we're finally getting to it. And even though this is a really overdue video, I still wanted to do it because I did review Season 1 and 2, so I felt like I should also review Season 3. And I have quite a few things to say about Season 3, some very unfortunate things as well. I was actually pretty disheartened to find a few things in the season that did disappoint me, that also disappointed a lot of other fans as well, so we're going to talk about those. But I also did enjoy things about the season for sure, because it's Fruits Basket. How can you not enjoy something from it when you're like a major fan? So still enjoyed some things. We're going to talk about the good and the bad. So with that out of the way, let's just get started. Let's talk about the good first. Let's talk about the things that I loved about this season. First one, the animation. I feel like with this season, the animation really stepped up its game. I felt like in Season 1, the animation was good. Season 2, I feel like the animation started to get a little wonky at times, which was unfortunate. It was still good, but there were some parts of the animation that was just like, not living up to the standards of how it was in Season 1. But in Season 3, I didn't have any problems with the animation. I thought it was all flawless, really fluid, all looked top tier animation for today's standards, so I was totally down for it. It was as beautiful as usual. And the next thing I loved about this season was the adaptation quality. I feel like every scene in this season was adapted so accurately from the manga, and they all really lived up to my expectations. The scenes that I was most excited for that were coming in this season were all done so perfectly. I'm thinking of the sheet scene between Kyo and Toru. I had been anticipating that scene so much, and I know a lot of other fans were as well. That scene just did not disappoint. I thought every single moment of that scene was done beautifully. The dialogue was on point. It was done accurately. And what made that scene even better is that in the manga, when Kyo and Toru hug through the sheet, you only see the hug. But with anime, the great thing about it is that you see everything in motion. So one thing about this scene that we did get in the manga is that we never knew who initiated the hug, but in the anime, it looks like Toru did, because she was the one that started the hug. So that's such a huge pro to getting this scene animated, is seeing who actually initiated the hug. That was really cool. And my biggest, most anticipated scene of all was the post-hospital reunion between Kyo and Toru. I had only dreamed of seeing that scene animated. Seeing it animated for the first time was an experience. I mean, I was just beyond myself with excitement, and it was done beautifully. It was just so gorgeous. I loved the way their hug was animated and how it did that whole 360 around them. Oh my goodness. Gives me feels just thinking about it. So props to the writers for the anime for getting all of these scenes so well adapted. Some of the scenes even better than they were done in the manga. It was just amazing. I was so impressed with that. So now we get into the bad stuff, the things that I didn't like about this season. It really hurts to have to mention bad things because I never wanted to mention any negative things about this season in this review. Like, I didn't anticipate that, but it happened. So let's talk about those. The absolute biggest disappointment of this season is the pacing. The pacing was so off. As I was going through this season, through the first 6 episodes, you guys might have seen it in my reactions. I kept saying, you know what, I know the pacing is a little weird, but I still have faith that it'll pick up and right itself with the remaining episodes. I was staying optimistic. I did not want to judge the weird, fast pacing until after the season ended, and then I would judge it. But it looks like all along I had a reason to judge it because the pacing just did not get better. I think the pacing somewhat works for anime onlys. That's kind of the consensus that I got from anime onlys is that the pacing didn't bother them too much because they had not read the manga and did not know that scenes had been cut, which really threw the pacing off. So that's good. It makes me kind of wish I was an anime only, so I wouldn't be so disappointed. But for us manga readers, we could catch on to how really weird and fast-paced this pacing was. And as manga readers, we really felt the loss of the scenes that were cut. Most of them being Kyoru scenes. There were so many Kyo and Toru scenes cut, not just in season 3, but within the last seasons as well, and it's just so disappointing. And although the Kyo and Toru scenes, as well as other scenes that don't involve them and involve different characters, but most of them were the Kyo and Toru scenes, although those scenes were pretty much not needed, they weren't necessary to the overall plot, they were fluffy scenes. And I feel like having fluff thrown in between all the drama and darkness that is going on is essential. And that's why the pacing of this season to me really flopped. Because when you take out so many lighthearted scenes and just have drama and angst back to back to back, you kind of start to get whiplash. That's how I feel. For me, it makes it to where when you have so many dark scenes over and over again, all in a row, it really lessens the effect of some of the drama that's happening in future scenes because it's just angst overload. That's why I need fluff to break up the angsty scenes, and that's why those Kyo and Toru fluffy scenes were so essential. And I really was surprised that the anime would cut those, even though they don't pertain to the overall plot. It gives the viewers a break from all the angst going on so that we can have kind of a breather and just kind of feel some positivity from the show so we don't get overwhelmed by all the darkness. That's why I'm just so surprised that they cut those scenes. I felt like they were pretty essential, and they're such cute scenes. Some of these scenes I had on my most anticipated scenes list, and they got cut. So that's why I'm just disappointed. That's the biggest word, disappointed, and I hate it. And also with the Kyo and Toru scenes that were cut, well, like I've been saying, they're not necessary, but I think every single little scene between them really adds onto their relationship and gives it more depth. And I felt like those little scenes that were cut really layered them more. And that's why it would have been nice to have them. They would have developed their relationship even more, but we just didn't get that. Not saying their relationship wasn't still developed in the anime, it just would have been even more deep and developed if those scenes had been there. And by the last few episodes, with the pacing being so fast, I started to get really overwhelmed by how soon things were happening. Like I said, I loved how Kyo and Toru's reconciliation happened. I thought it was animated beautifully. Every single piece of dialogue between them, every moment, so perfect. But I couldn't help feeling overwhelmed by the fact that we were already at this point. Because that scene arrived sooner than was expected, I couldn't process my emotions for the scene. Like, on the surface, I still felt, the feels that come with that scene. But also in the back of my mind, I kept thinking, we're here too soon. I did not expect this so soon. And what I love is the build-up with the little Kyo and Toru scenes that were cut that lead us to that moment when they finally get together. And it makes that moment between them mean even more. And it was a very bizarre feeling because, like I had said, it was my most anticipated scene to get animated. And so I always imagined I would just be overwhelmed with joy to see that scene and feel all the feels. But all I could think was, wow, we're here too soon. And it made it to where I couldn't really enjoy it fully. It was a very bizarre feeling. It's something I've never felt with any show before. But that's how I felt. And so along with that scene just came a little bit of disappointment because I thought I would feel more to it. But I just kept thinking, we shouldn't be here yet. This happened way too soon. And that really speaks to how off the pacing was. Now, to fix the pacing issue, what they should have done is just made it a full 25-episode season. Before the season, me and others kept saying there's no way it's only going to be 13 episodes. We were so adamant that it was going to be a full 25-episode season because we couldn't comprehend how you can fit all the rest of the manga content in only 13 episodes in an adaptation. It wouldn't work out. And we were right. It didn't work out. The pacing was way too fast. And maybe 25 episodes might have been a little too much because there wasn't an overwhelming amount of chapters left. I think at least it should have been maybe 18 episodes. I think that would have been perfect. It would have helped give us breathers to the angst that was coming, give us breaks in between all that, and so they can throw in the fluffy scenes that were from the manga as well to break that up. I think that would have been perfect. It was not meant for a 13-episode season. I just really don't think it worked out. It just made for the season to feel really choppy. It kind of made it to where a lot of the characters' endings weren't tied up as nicely as they could have been. And really, I guess that's the only problem I had with this season was the pacing, and that's it. But it felt like I had more problems because the pacing was that bad. It breaks my heart to say so much. Oh my god. And just over time, as I dwell on the pacing more and more, over time, I've realized more and more how bad it is. Once the anime ended, I realized the pacing was off. But as time went on and I kept dwelling on it, I was like, wow, the pacing was really bad. And even though this is a full manga adaptation, it feels like things are missing because of the cutscenes. And when recommending this anime to others, I wanted to be like, it's a full manga adaptation. You won't even have to read the manga. But now I can't do that because there was cutscenes. So I have to be like, yeah, the anime was great, but they did cut some scenes, so you might want to read the manga. And I never wanted to have to do that for this anime because we were promised a full manga adaptation. In a way, this might sound very controversial, but I don't even think we got a full manga adaptation because of all the cutscenes. I'm sorry. I feel like really bad for saying it. I feel like a little, what's a good word? I feel a little deceived because it's like we didn't really get a full manga adaptation because of the little cutscenes. That ended up being a lot of cutscenes, but yeah, that's how I feel about it. But technically, it is a full manga adaptation, and I never anticipated there ever being a full manga adaptation for Fruits Basket. So even though I had problems with the final season, I still can't help being grateful that this exists because it's so rare for a series as old as this one to get a reboot. And not only a reboot, but a full manga adaptation reboot. That's just unheard of. And especially with the shoujo genre as well. So I still have to be grateful that it even exists. And I am. I am really happy that this exists. And that doesn't mean I won't rewatch season 3 and not enjoy it, because I will. I still will enjoy all of it because it has scenes in it that I had only dreamed of getting animated. And so I can go back and rewatch those, and it's great. I still go back and just rewatch some scenes, all the Kyo and Toru scenes, because they're amazing in the anime. They were done so well. So I'm so happy about that. And I guess that's it. Rating. What would I rate this one? It's definitely not a 5 out of 5 stars. Which is sad to say. I would say a 4 out of 5, which means it was still good. That's still a great rating. The only thing that brought it down was the pacing, and that's it. Everything else was great. And I think that about does it. So that was my review of season 3. Man, it's September now. If this had been a full 25 episode season, the season would have been ending by now. Like, we would have had a lot more episodes. Oh man, that would have been so amazing. It's so sad it didn't happen. I will be back with more Fruits Basket content. I know I am switching my content up a little since I'm getting back into BookTube, but I still will have Fruits Basket videos mixed into there. I have a few ideas for Fruba videos to come, so I'm excited about those. So if you love Fruits Basket and you're not subscribed to this channel, you should definitely subscribe because I have more Fruba-related videos coming that I am super pumped for. And if you love book-related videos and anime-related videos, then you should definitely subscribe and like this video if you enjoyed it. I also am on social media. Those links will be in the description box, as well as my username will be on the screen if you'd like to follow that. And I guess that about does it. So I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!